Today we're visiting the Montezuma's Castle,
right over there.
Cliff dwelling. Montezuma's Castle was apparently named by white settlers who came in and didn't realize there was no connection to Mexico or Montezuma. The name seems to have stuck. This place seems to have been populated kind of along the same time period as Mesa Verde and Bandelier and some of the sites we visited last year. Probably an extension of the same general culture. The niche that's built into apparently is natural, a natural cave, and then the people here enlarged it or altered it in some way to suit their purposes, and then built these walls and things to form dwellings in it. There are additional structures in the niches below the castle. They're calling it a castle, it's not really a castle. Could have been granaries or something here. But that is really far up the cliff. You just have to wonder, how did they get up there? Did they climb up the face of that cliff? Did they have ladders? Did they rappel down from above? There are additional dwelling remains further down the cliff. The first castle we were looking at is over there, then over here is another remains of an even larger structure. The guide said that the one over here was built by the ancestors of the Navajo. That one over there was built by ancestors of the modern day Hopi. Said there were a total of 7 different Indian tribes, modern Indian tribes, that claim ancestry and heritage in this valley. They called this area the Sin Agua area, which means without water in Spanish, which seems like a very inappropriate name because it's got a lot of water in it, and the guide made a point of saying that this creek never runs dry. So why it was called the Sin Agua area, I have no idea. This is Beaver Creek. It's running pretty good right now. Looks like kind of a low flood stage to me. From here you can see both the Montezuma Castle and what they're calling Castle A, which is the Navajo structure over here. The Castle A, according to the archaeologists, had 5 levels, so it was a substantial...
And more rooms.
Yeah, 45 rooms. It was a substantial structure. But the
Montezuma had 40.
Montezuma Castle is better preserved, possibly because it's so inaccessible.
Well, they also said that the Castle A had a fire, and they think that caused things to fall away.
Oh, fall away from the
so
cliff.
There's a lot of rubble.
Yeah. We're at Montezuma Well now. This is part of the Montezuma Castle cultural area. This is, I guess, a well, maybe one of the sources of Beaver Creek that provided water to the people. We're down in the well basin, maybe is a better word. No indication of whether this was a dwelling or just a storage place of some kind. That is a very small doorway. You'd practically have to turn sideways to get in. They're calling it a dwelling, but I don't know if that means literally where people dwelt. You can see, though, that there was more than is here now. You've got these, look at those footprints in there, kind of animal prints. I'm assuming those are modern. This would be a pretty good place to have your dwelling. You've got your water directly in front. No fish in there. There's too high a carbon dioxide content for fish to live in there, but ducks land on it, so you'd be able to hunt the ducks and grow crops, I would imagine. When does graffiti cease to be vandalism and start becoming a historical artifact? If this is to be believed, this person was here in 1896, which is interesting historically as well, it seems. Even though they shouldn't have written their name on this.
In fact, they put his name twice.
Yeah.
On the same day.
I. Hill and Duke G. Heflin.
D.G. Griffin.
D. Griffin.
Or
I
maybe
guess
that's
that's a different person, but the same date. We were standing on that rim over there and had no idea that these structures were right underneath it, right under our feet.
Oh, yeah, bad timing. Oh, the beach.
There are ruins just scattered all around. You can see why people would have built here close to this well, though, so I'm not surprised. And we're thinking that this down here would have been their fields. There was apparently a canal that they dug to capture the water as it flowed out of the well and before it flowed into the creek. And it looked like it kind of guided the water over in this direction. I'm guessing it's the prehistoric canal that they said.
Well, because they did build canals.
Yeah. And they showed a canal kind of paralleling the creek, but up the hill from it. Wow. So we're wondering if this is the prehistoric canal that the ancients built here. It looks like it might have been reinforced with some concrete. Maybe the Park Service has restored it. So we think this is the outflow. There's a 150-foot underground channel that takes the overflow from the well and brings it out to the creek, or in this case, to this canal that is apparently man-made. This is an Arizona sycamore tree. That is just a huge trunk. And then look at it going up and up and up. We're at the B Ranch site, which is petroglyph site. This site is called the V Ranch site because it used to be a cattle ranch. It was only acquired by the Forest Service in 1994. The property was first homesteaded by a family, the Taylor family, at the turn of the 20th century, and then there were several other families that homesteaded here, I think all on smaller ranches, and then eventually in 1927 smaller ranches were merged together into one larger ranch called the V. This is the original chimney for the ranch house. This is all that's left of the ranch house. You can see the V brand, I think. You can see it in the video. Monogrammed into the chimney. So we'd be inside the house here. Very nice hearth, very nice chimney. Beautiful. I don't know, that metal part at the top looks maybe like a later addition. I don't know. But it's also called the Crane Petroglyph Site. And that's what this visitor center over here is for. This is the petroglyph site. They say they've identified over 1,000 different petroglyphs here. Starting on this wall here.
Or it's a girl with the hair at either side of her head. Right there.
Yeah. So So it said there are no pictographs at this site, so no painting on the wall. All the images here have been carved into the wall. This one looks like a rocket ship, so I wonder if aliens visited the people here. Linda says it's a horny toad. This morning we're taking a short but steep, strenuous hike on the McDonald Trail. Is that what it was called? It only said it was 9/10 of a mile total round trip. But it's, I think, to the top of that bluff up there. So we still got a bit of climbing to do. And we think we can see some cliff dwellings just underneath the edge of the hill up there. So we'll see more as we get closer. We're almost up to where those dwellings are, and we're noticing here pieces of pottery. I think that's what this is. It certainly looks like a piece of pottery. There's some down there on the rock.
Yeah, there's a bunch of it. Here's
Zoom in.
pieces. Here. They did plain pottery in this area,
Yeah.
and they traded it for more ornate pottery from people to the south.
I guess their skill was making the pots, not decorating them.
There is a living space up here made long ago. It's kind of crumbling, but you can see definite remains of man's hands working with nature to make a home there. It looks bigger than just a stash, area. Although I suppose it could have been that, a place to stash their their goods. There's lots of caves along here. Any of these could have been, shelter or a stash place. This cave here looks like it has a further back area. It's not showing up on the camera, but it looks like it goes to another door further back.
This was the view. This is the view from the cliff here. You can see the Dollar General down there. There seem to be Dollar Generals everywhere. Even if there's not a grocery store, there's a Dollar General. But just a really beautiful view. Try to picture what it was like when these people built their dwelling here in the cliff.
Yeah, you could see the smoke from the fires in there. It goes way back. I think this tree is very interesting. I'll get closer to it so you can see it's kind of spiny. And we read about a lot of these, trees and bushes and the ways that the Indians would use them. But I can't keep it all in my head, unfortunately. But this one's very interesting looking, and it does look like it's starting to put on new growth, maybe, or...
These things that look like thorns are actually, I think they're twigs. Normally we think of thorns, but these looks like they've got buds on them.
Yeah. Interesting tree. Here's another interesting one right here.
Is that the same tree?
Is it the same tree? But it looks like the needles are wanting to shoot up a little bit more,
Today we're at Tuzigoot National Monument, which is a village on a hill that was excavated in the 1930s. As with Bandelier, it's not a place I'd ever heard of before. We're here in Cottonwood, or this might be Clarkdale, Arizona, in the area of Sedona. Tuzigoot, it was a hilltop pueblo. They figure this construction dates from I don't know, the 8,800 to 8,1300 range, kind of similar to other pueblos and things that we've visited here in the Southwest in the past. I think one of the interesting things about coming to places like this is just the opportunity to think yourself into the past. Whether you're at a pueblo site in southwestern US, or if you're at a 1,000-year-old castle in Europe. I remember feeling the same way at old structures in Europe, churches, and just trying to imagine what it was like to come and go to that structure when it was first built or throughout its history, and just imagine what people's lives were like. Today we're at the Palatki Heritage Site. This is another Native American site. Had to get reservations on reservation.gov, and then it was also at the end of about an 8-mile dirt road. This is the tour out here at Palatki. There's 2 parts to the tour. We get to come out here to the cliff dwelling, and then we're going to go see rock art, climbing up the pathway to the cliff dwelling. This is the second element of this Palatki site. Look like pictographs rather than petroglyphs. And there are some that are pretty clear. According to the docent, this wall has been used by a variety of cultures over the ages, from archaic natives thousands of years ago to, a couple hundred years ago, I guess, a few hundred years ago. So there's a real overlap of cultures and interpretations that you could make of these. Back to the back.
Stone structure there.
We're continuing our tour of native sites today out here at Honanki Heritage Site, which is also a National Forest Service site. This one didn't require a reservation. It's more remote, 4.5 miles further along the dirt road than the Palatki site. So I don't know, maybe they figure that the remoteness will keep folks away and they don't need to limit access. Bit of wind blowing through. I don't know, somehow it just adds to the atmosphere. The winds of change. So it's interesting here, we're actually seeing the walls of the rooms between each other. We don't usually get that type of view. Usually we see the outside walls like over here, but we don't get to see how the rooms were separated. It's interesting the way this looks almost like a rounded turret or tower. You can see the wall is kind of in a rounded shape, not just a sharp corner. This wall has a little bit of a precarious look to it now, but you got to remember it's been standing here for what, 800 years or more? Again, they say that the people left this area about the same time they were leaving Mesa Verde, Canyon of the Ancients, and I believe down in Bandelier they said that a lot of the people from those areas moved to Bandelier, so they were kind of and the Hopi communities, the Pueblo communities around Bandelier, they were kind of the recipients of the people that moved from these areas and from Mesa Verde.
Bye, guys. So, their average height was around 4 feet to 5 feet tall. And that was the roof of the second floor, and they're 4 to 5 feet tall. Is that deep enough? No, it would have hunched. So we still get students that study out here. And one young lady dug down. This goes down.
It looks like a doorway that got
We're looking at the
filled
back
in
quarter
with rock.
of all these rooms. And guys, that wall goes underneath your feet and ejects out the other side. So that's how little that we're seeing of all in total, guys.
There's another big sun disk or something on the wall there with human figures, animal figures below it.
So the archaeologists filled it in to stop people from going back in there. But what's weird, from this room to all the other rooms that we went to, taller, the back walls.
Yeah,
They used the canyons for all the other rooms, right?
or the
So we have
sun.
two theories. One, it could have been used for storage. We did find a lot of corn
Yeah.
cobs and pine nuts back in there, so we keep food out of there. Two, after the Sinaco people left, new tribes moved in after a couple hundred years.